Have you ever wondered how to get clients using your social media platform? Maybe you thought you need a big following, large numbers of people that are paying attention to you and are subscribed to your list. Maybe you thought you need to go viral in order to make the impact that you need on social media. Well, I'm here to tell you that you don't need a big following or you don't need a big list in order to get qualified organic leads from your social media account. In this episode, we're going to be tackling that and we're going to be covering how you can get clients using your social media platforms to build your business. All right. And if you've never been introduced to us, our names are Antonio and Michael Baldovinos. We help aspiring entrepreneurs go online and build their business or scale their business if they've already been started. So in this episode, we're going to start with this one important question. All right. So how many followers do you need to get clients for your business? Why don't we start there? Michael, why don't you take us into that route?
Yeah, for sure. So, how many followers do you need to get clients? Um, well, because I usually have managed like a few different size social media accounts. I've managed 1,000 person accounts, 60,000 person accounts, 80,000 person accounts, and what I've noticed is the size does not matter in terms of if you can get clients or not because I myself I did TikTok for a while and I had like almost 60,000 followers and it didn't necessarily translate to getting clients. Now, TikTok is not the greatest for conversion because there's such a short attention span, but having a big following doesn't necessarily translate to clients. So, to answer that question, I would say the size doesn't actually matter. It's more about the quality of your audience. Because I've even seen like a bunch of moms who have 1,500 followers, they're getting tons of clients for their network marketing business or their own product. And it's really because they've built a tribe and an audience that follows them. So they're a bunch of quality followers that are know, like, and trust you on social media. And that's why you don't actually need that many followers. You just need quality followers. And if
Yeah,
you're even looking at like, uh, yeah, I'll just finish my thought here. But if you're even looking at like the bigger accounts, a lot of people think, oh, you need these huge amount of followers to get clients. But a lot of times, because we are working with like a bunch of different marketing people and all these coaches, and a lot of the times their followers aren't even necessarily real followers. They're most of the time running ad campaigns. And a side effect to running an ad campaign for a product or something like that is you will just get followers because you're running ads. So people are seeing your account. So you're just going to naturally get followers. Some of them are real because they see your stuff and they follow you, but some of them are just like a side effect of the ad campaign. But yeah, you have anything else to add from that?
yeah, most people are going to start with 300 people in their, social media platform. Here's the thing, you know, a funeral, and this is kind of where I get this mindset. Every person knows at least 200 people because every funeral is around 200 people. And so, thinking like that, that's where you start. And then you start building it with organic content where you're bringing value. And then over time, and if you're doing good hashtags and you're doing good language as far as descriptions of the content, you're going to build that organic content. And that's actually the qualified leads. And over time, the know, like, and trust. And we're big believers in the know, like, and trust. You know, Number one, we really value giving that value over time to your prospects and go online, showing up regularly and consistent. And I'm not the greatest at this. Michael's always harping on me for going online, getting consistent, all that. And it's true. You have to make a decision to go online. You have to be consistent on showing up and creating reels and shorts and all that. That's going to build your following. And a lot of people don't really think about it because it's easier to actually just pay it for ads. It's much easier. And a lot of people, like Michael said, they're building their platforms that way. But you don't need a big following as long as you're showing up regularly and building that rapport with your prospects right there and then. And then over time, and we're not going to go into it, but the goal is actually not to build your social media platform. The goal is actually to build your email list. So lead magnets come into play and other value driven stuff that you can, take them from social media and build your email list. Like this just happened yesterday where Instagram and Facebook got shut down. They went down. And this is like the second time in less than 60 days. And so do we want to build?
Everyone was freaking out.
Yeah, of course everyone was freaking out.
Everyone was
Do we
on
really
Twitter.
want to build a following where you're not in charge, where someone else is in charge of who can see it, how often they can see it, and what if that platform gets shut down? What if you want to actually build an email list that's stronger, more qualified, that you can nurture, and they can see your stuff as much and as often as you want? That is probably a better discussion than it is only to leverage or build your social media platform. So why don't we just keep on going? Because Michael, you're actually really good at this one and you're always helping me with this one. But why don't you talk to us about how to get more views or better views through engagement?
Through engagement. Okay. So if I'm not getting any views or my engagement is low, then it really comes down to two things. One is your content, how you're structuring it, is weak. So a structure I like to follow is called hook, concept, mic drop. And I learned this one actually from TikTok because TikTok is such short attention span. You got to get their attention within 1 to 3 seconds. So that's where the hook comes into play. So for example, say I'm doing a fitness TikTok or a fitness short or something. My hook could be how I lost 50 pounds doing this one thing in 3 months, right? That sounds super interesting. You're going to want to watch that video because one, you're going to be like, what is that one thing that he did and how did he do it so fast? And why was it so much weight so fast, right? So it creates curiosity. It creates a little bit of confusion, like what did he do? So the hook's super important. And then concept is pretty much delivering content that your market or niche actually cares about. Most people go into social media being like, oh, I know this about fitness. I'm just going to go talk about this certain subject I know a ton about. But the real thing that you should be thinking about, how can I make my content more watchable? Like as an example that you'll notice is there's actually a guy named Pat McAfee. He's an NFL show. And his content, he used to be a punter in the NFL, but his content actually isn't like crazy NFL analysis or anything. It's actually just a bunch of guys talking about football, joking around. It's almost like a locker room style feel. And it's not like amazing content. It's mostly just funny and entertaining, but that's the point. How can you make your content more watchable and more entertaining to watch? So like this guy, I started following him when he first started. I think he had 100 or 2,000 followers, 100,000 or 2,000 followers on YouTube. And now he has like 4 million and he signed a thing with ESPN where now he's under ESPN. But it's because his content is watchable. So most people get stuck in the trap of, oh, I need to make my content really good. But instead think, how can I make this more watchable? Because that's what will make your stuff grow. And then the last thing to hook, concept, mic drop. Mic drop is pretty much what is the one phrase that if someone only watched that 1 5-second chunk at the end of your video, they would know what the video is about and they could take away that point. So yeah, that's hook, concept, mic drop. That will help a lot with your structure. And then the second point, if you're not getting views, is you're probably not posting something that your audience finds interesting. I know it sounds harsh, but if you're not getting views and you keep posting something in the same niche and you keep trying the same thing, it's probably because what you're posting isn't that interesting and nobody really cares, to be honest. So
Well,
that's what I would focus on. Yeah,
let
go
me
for it.
jump on that because I actually think it's people are actually, why do they go on social media? Most of the time they're bored in some capacity in real life, and so they're going to social media to be entertained. So don't be boring. If they're bored and you're making boring content, you're not going to be viewed. They're not interested.
Yep.
So number one thing when you're coming up with content, make it entertaining. That should be the premise. How do I make this engaging and entertaining? Number two if you're creating content that's educational, well, make it engaging. Don't just make it boring, you know. And number three, tell stories with it. That's actually how you make it engaging. So the hook and the mic drop and the concept all are huge, but make it story based because people love stories. I mean, we go to movies because of stories. We listen to songs because of stories. We remember stories. We may not remember the principles, but we will remember the stories. So that's one of the most powerful things that you could actually remember when it comes to how do I make this educational and engaging and entertaining. Don't be boring. So make it interesting and don't just post about your product. No one is really that interested. You know, that can be boring alone. You know, it's fine to post about your product and your service. You want to leverage that and you want to build a social media platform. But if you're noticing that you're getting less and less engagement, well, that's probably time that you're being boring because your audience is not interested. So maybe for a little bit, Michael, we could talk about something that I think was a game changer for us is building your brand online. So of course you want to
Yeah.
bring value to the marketplace, to social media by teaching and training, education and all that stuff. That's going to be important. And you're talking about how you can serve people, give value away. But also if people are not interested, there's one big concept. People buy for someone they know, like, and trust. So
Yep.
building your brand is more than just talking about your industry or your niche, your product or your service. It's much bigger than that. And so maybe we can dive into the discussion of building your brand online because I think this is a game changer. If I'm just posting about my product, boom, posting about my product, and even if you do it in an education, entertaining way, maybe there's more to who you are more than just the product that you're talking about. So why don't we dive in for a little bit? Because I think this is going to be important to talk about building your brand online.
Yeah. So with what he's talking about with brand is how you're structuring you being portrayed on social media. So how I could put this into context is actually a lot of people will call it like the superhero brand or um, the for against brand, but pretty much you explain it like this. So in a movie, when you see a superhero, the reason why superheroes are so relatable to us is because there's something that a superhero is for, something that they're against, and then you see their flaws in the movie. So if you think about like Superman, he's for justice and good and saving the weak, and he's
He's
against
pro
evil.
America.
Yeah, he's pro America. He's against evil. He's against anything bad, right? And then his flaw is kryptonite. It's his one flaw. If you can hit him with kryptonite, he's just like anybody else, right? And that's what makes him relatable. And you can actually look at this as proof of when they didn't do it like this in a movie, for example, Wonder Woman. This sounds bad, and they took it out because of like modern, it would just be like really bad in the modern world. It would get
Modern
trashed on.
woke.
But Wonder Woman, if you look back in the comic books, her original flaw was actually her like wrist things. They could get strapped down by a man, and a man could like tie her up, and she couldn't use her wrist things. That's like if you go back in the comics, that's her original flaw, and they took that away because obviously that would get trashed on nowadays. But Wonder Woman did so bad when they came out with the movies because she had no flaw. There was no way to relate to her. She was just this supernatural being, and there was no way for it to relate to the audience. And that's why both her movies flopped. But yeah, is there anything else you want to add to brand and how they can put it into their social media?
Yeah, I think even a homework that you guys can do right now would be describing what you're for. And it's great to look at what a superhero does, but I think I even had to do it for myself. What I'm for is I'm for capitalism. I'm for building your business. I'm for growing my mindset. I'm for online business. I'm for marketing and sales. I'm for, I have a relationship with Jesus. I am for marriage and family. I love children. So those are the things that I'm for. And then so you actually want to take some time and write down what am I for? Because remember, you're inviting people to get to know, like, and trust you. And then what are you against? Well, the things that I'm against, I hate poverty. I hate lack of knowledge, because what's really keeping us many times from where we want to be is a lack of information, a lack of knowledge. The Bible says that my people perish for lack of knowledge. And so we want to grow in knowledge. I'm also for coaching and mentorship and getting a coach to help me. I'm against feminism, meaning where the masculate the removing of masculinity. So I'm against some of the ideas that are happening in the school system. I'm against those things. So the reason I want to tell you this is because that's going to build my brand. The more I go online, not just talk about my product or service, but I'm telling them about what I'm for. I'm telling them what I'm against also. And this is where trust is in relationship, is talking about my flaws, talking about, the things that have been weaknesses of mine, the things that have not gone so well for me in my life, of starting things and then I got into debt, or different things that have been real flaws in my life. And so the more I talk about them, the more I'm relatable to people. And so the audience start going, oh, I'm just like that, or I understand that. And so now I'm building connection with the outside world, with that audience that doesn't really know me. And so if you can build your brand around what am I for, what am I against, and what are my flaws, then you actually incorporate that in your content, and then you almost get permission to talk about your product and your
Yeah.
service. But don't just do product or service stuff. Talk about all these other things, and then make it relatable, bring connection, tell stories. Every one of those things are telling stories. So you can actually bring hook, concept, and mic drop around stories, around those things that I'm for, that I'm against, and my flaws, and then also add my product and my niche and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So putting this together builds your brand online.
Yeah, and I would even say you can notice this with big brands, like for example, Prime, the hydration drink. They're a key example showing this. They're because most companies they don't have like a face per se selling their product like Gatorade or Walmart. Like there's not like a face. So what do they do to take advantage of this superhero type branding? They just hire other influencers to promote their product because those influencers already have a tribe of people that know, like, and trust them. You can even look at the Prime energy drink, like I was saying. I think Logan Paul and KSI are actually part owners of the company, but they're using their own brand and their own following to promote Prime. And Prime actually just passed Gatorade as the top hydration drink in Walmart. So you can see that the influencer style marketing of building a brand does convert into selling a product. And
Yeah,
a big mistake that we see, you can go for it if you want to. I think we're going to
yeah,
talk
let
about the
me add
same
this.
thing.
Let me add this. I
Yeah.
think this is going to be important, that people will buy more from someone they know more than the great quality of a product. Let me give
Yeah.
you an example. So, there might be, a babysitting, childcare business that comes to your house and watches your kid. They're more qualified. They're very well trained. They may be even adults. But I would rather choose someone that I know, maybe someone like my niece or my nephew, or even a neighbor who's 13 years old, because I know them and I'm letting them in my house. So, and that's your most precious treasures are your children. So, know, like, and trust is going to be really important for building your brand and going online, social media. And it's going to be pivotal for you to understand this, because this is, there's a rule. It's called the 7-11, 7 hours and 11 touch points. So the more content that you build, the more content that you're out there and they're seeing you, they're trusting you. Oh, that
Yeah.
person has authority in that area, in that industry. I know them. I like them. I trust them. And so
Yeah.
it's more about who you are that you get to represent and show. And that's why, you know, influencers are so pivotal now to businesses, not just small
Yeah.
businesses, to big businesses because those people have built trust with audiences, and they've done it just through TikTok. They've done it through just going online. And so we can do that, the exact same thing for our own businesses.
Yeah. And another story that you guys can take it as an analogy to even see the importance of know, like, and trust is uh, me and Dad. We've done lots of missions and traveling like all over the world. And you'll go to these countries, specifically in Asia, and they have these markets, right? There's all these stands like miles and miles long. There's tons of these markets. And we're in these countries sometimes for many days in a row. So you'll like walk through these markets, and every day they're just bombarding you like, oh, good deal, good sale, good price. Oh, American, we have a good price for you. Da da da. And you're walking through, and they're bombarding you with all this
Just
stuff.
for
And it's
you.
like, yeah. And at the beginning, it's like crazy. It's like, wow, this is insane. Like so much stimulation. But then after doing that a few days in a row, you kind of just avoid it and ignore it. You're like, I don't even hear it anymore, pretty much. You just keep walking, right? But if I was to walk through that market and then I see one of my friends, I immediately would go up and talk to them and be like, hey, like, how's it going? Let's go get a coffee, da da da, right? That is the same type of environment today. We're on social media. We get hit with all these ads, people selling products to us, people offering us services. But then if they see someone that they know, like, and trust, they're going to go and build a conversation with them, talk to them, maybe do a business deal, buy their product, right? So that's the importance of know, like, and trust. But I want to transition a little bit here to, okay, we know it's important to build a brand. We know it's important to get on social media so we can actually sell our products and our services and build a following that knows, likes, and trusts us. But what do I do now? I watched this video. What are the like three things that you would say that I should do right now to start building a client base for my social media account?
Well, I'll start with one, and then you can go to the next ones, Michael. But I'll start with
Okay.
one. The first one is you need to identify the person that you're serving. So you want to know everything about them. You want to obsess about who they are. And it's actually kind of shocking to me because we actually have a done for you service, a done for you business. And it's actually shocking to me that our first discovery call, when we jump on a call with someone and start building their business, how much they lack knowing who they're serving. I mean, they might
Yeah.
even have a business already established and they barely know who they're serving. Listen,
Yeah.
if you don't serve a specific person with specific problems, with specific issues, with that they say specific statements about where they're stuck or plateaued or lacking something, then you're not serving your ideal client properly. So
Tell the
it's
Lulu
not,
story.
what's that?
Tell the
Oh
Lulu
yeah, Lulu.
story. Tell the Lulu story.
Yeah, I recently read a book from Chip Wilson, the founder of Lululemon.
Yeah.
And everyone knows the yoga pants. They're expensive. They're like $100, $120 for a pair of yoga pants. And you'd think, wow, they're so expensive. But actually, he knew who he's serving, everything about them. So he knew he could charge them a specific price because he knew everything about them. For example, he named his dream avatar, and that's what we call it, a dream avatar, the person you're serving. He named her Becky. She's 32 years old. She makes $200,000 a year. She's not married, she's single, and her goal is efficiency. So she wakes up in the morning and puts on the yoga pants. She goes for a run and goes for a workout, then goes for coffee with her friends, then goes to work in the same yoga pants. So she never took them
Yeah.
off. So, it affected their entire store, their entire culture, their entire branding, and their price points. And there's no layaways. You can't even put the pants behind the counter and say, I'll come back in an hour. No, no, no. If you want them, you can buy them now because he knows he can do that because he knows that they can afford it. So they don't even
Yeah.
need to go to a cash machine. They can buy right there. Here's the point. You want to know your dream avatar so well and obsess about their problems because the market is all about solving people's problems. So here, we want to talk about like how do they digest content? What are their favorite platforms? What's their messaging? What are they listening to? What do they want to hear? What are their pain points? What are their statements that they're saying? So you want to create content around answering their questions more than talking about your product. Your product is only an element of solving their problem, but you want to be empathetic about solving their problem more than pitching your product. Don't pitch your product.
Yeah.
Serve them with value, build a brand, and you will go sky high, not just building a big following, you'll actually get qualified leads that are interested in what you have to offer. So
Yeah.
that would be big for me, and that's the foundation for social media content.
Yeah. And I would say second thing you guys should do is give value to that niche consistently for the long term. Like in this online business sphere, you'll see a ton of people who are like, oh, online business looks like a get rich quick, I'll make money really fast thing. So then they start posting content, they start doing all this stuff, putting out products, and then they just stop after 6 months or a year. And that is not the way to do it. You need to do it consistently, long term, and you don't stop, because when people see you consistently, that's when they start to get to know, like, and trust you. To get that 7-Eleven principle involved because they're spending so much time with you. They see you as a friend now. And that's when you get that following in that tribe that actually trusts you.
Yeah, and when it comes to giving value, Michael, you can jump on the next point. But when it comes to giving value, it's actually important that you actually don't start asking to do something. I came from the old school of marketing where, we would buy billboards and we would buy radio ads and TV commercials. And, I would make commercials for the movies. I would, billboards and bus stops and everything in between. Listen, that's just telling people. And that was old school marketing. Old school marketing is, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff.
That's the
Current
market
social,
overseas.
yeah, it doesn't work. What
Doesn't
does
work.
work is actually talk to me about my problems, talk to me about my issues. Tell me that you can actually help me with the number one key, the 3 steps, the milestones that have helped you that can help me. Talk to me about that. That's giving value away more than here's my product and buy my stuff and go, attend my event. Buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. And by the way, did you buy my stuff yet? That doesn't work. So giving value is so key for building your brand on social media.
Yeah, and to transition onto that last point into this next point is once you build that brand, bring the people a level deeper with you. So, for example, I'm a parent. I have 2 kids, and both times I've had my kids in those first 2 weeks, every parent knows this. You're dying. You've slept like 2 hours every night for 2 weeks. And what is the biggest pain point for me as a parent in that moment? I'm super tired, right? So there's actually this course I have bought both times when both my boys have been born. It's called Taking Care of Babies. If you guys want your kids to sleep through the night, go buy the course. I'm not an affiliate. um, but every single time I bought her course, you get access to it for $100, and you can learn how to have your kids sleep through the night for the first 6 months. And it has helped me every single time. But what did she do? She served my pain point. And she actually started with free content. She does blogs like all the time where she'll just give you free stuff on how to help your kids sleep from all the different age ranges. But then she takes me a level deeper with that low ticket product. But her first level deeper was actually the blog. So if you guys can take people on an email list where you send them weekly emails, you can do a blog for them, you can get them in a Facebook group. Like we were just telling a lady in one of our coaching programs, she helps moms learn how to breastfeed, which is actually a super big pain point. I've heard a lot of women say breastfeeding is actually harder than birth. And we were like, man, you just got to make a Facebook group, get all these moms in here, give them tips and tricks on how to breastfeed. And then if they want more, sell them a low ticket product. And that's really how you have to think about it. It's a sales process. And that first step is just bring them a level deeper, get them to know, like, and trust you even more by getting their contact information, talking to them often, bringing them a place that's not on social media, because then you actually own that follower and that subscriber. But yeah, that's what I would say. Bring them a level deeper after you get them to know, like, and trust you.
Yeah, I think even you know, building that reputation that you're known for, and that's why consistency and always showing up is so important for every person here. You want to show up consistently. In fact, decide if you want to build a brand, if you want to build a business, you got to be online, and you want to start right now. When? The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is right now. So decide to show up and create content, valuable content that serves people. And over time, they're going to go, I want to work with this person. I need to go further. Can you tell me more? So you
Yep.
don't want to just always be seeking out, your followers or your potential clients. And that's where ads come in. You want to be findable. That's why Facebook groups or different long form or other pieces of platforms, content on platforms are so important. So be findable by becoming an expert in a certain area, and people will start talking about you. People will start sharing about your content because it's a valuable content, and they'll start going, hey, I know this person that can help with that. I know this person, this girl that can help with that. I know this person that can
Yep.
help with that because you've been talking about it for quite some time. They know, like, and trust you, and they can just share about it. And by the time they show up, oh my goodness, they are raving fans ready to buy from you. You don't have to be salesy because you've been providing content for quite some time. So now we've
Yep.
talked about identify that person that you're serving. Number one. Number two, give value away. And then number three,
Hmm.
Michael, you can just jump on this one because he's really
I,
good at the
I
next one.
I said that one.
Oh, you did.
Bring
Call
them
to
to the next
action.
level
Sorry.
deeper. Yeah, bring them next level deeper.
And
And
then
then I
number
would say
four.
one more bonus one. I would say one more bonus one is, like you said, just start doing it. I know a lot of people that'll be like, oh, I need to start posting content, doing all this stuff. I need to think about, like, what's my niche? How can I serve them the best? How can I bring them the most value? You're already stuck in the trap of analysis paralysis. You are way behind because you are stuck. I'm telling you right now, go start posting and you are going to be absolutely terrible. You're going to suck. You're going to suck at speaking. You're going to suck at doing hook concept mic drop. I remember the first time we started posting with my dad's account, we were like, maybe we should just talk about sales. Let's just talk about sales for 2 weeks because dad's really good at sales and he has lots of value on it. But like, let's just talk about sales and see what happens. No views. I'm like, okay, well, that didn't work. So then that's when we transition into building a brand, getting for, against, flaws, all that stuff. And that's when the viewership and the engagement grew. But that's because we started posting that we figured that out. If I would have thought about, okay, maybe I'll do sales and then maybe I'll talk about this in sales, I would have never figured out that it doesn't work, right? So you need to go start posting a lot and consistently and get used to that flow because you're going to get so much better and you're going to figure out what actually works. And don't stop doing it. Like we
And
said, do it for
listen,
the long term, do it
and listen.
consistently.
Everyone has a phone. Everyone can do this
Yep.
right now. So you don't need the expensive equipment. That's an excuse. You don't need all that stuff. I mean, you can buy a couple lights or one light for under $40. You already have the phone. If it's 13 and above, you're good to go. You can start creating content and you can start communicating with your audience, start building rapport, start building that reputation online. I'm telling you. Now, I'll say this before we come to a close. Imperfect action is perfect action. So you're not, just like Michael said, you're going to suck at first. That's okay. No problem. The best part is that no one's watching anyways when you first start. So the better, the
Yeah, because you
more
suck.
content you make, right? No one's watching. No one cares. So the more, it's almost like going to the gym. Everyone thinks that they go to the gym, that people are watching them how to lift, but they don't care. They're doing their own stuff and they're focused on their stuff. So they're not really paying attention to what you're doing. After some time, when you start creating great, valuable content and you start learning those hooks and you start, being good at call to actions and all those things, then they're going to start paying attention. But you've already put in the reps. So do it right now.
Yep.
Decide to start putting content. Do it now. Don't do it later. Do it now. Don't procrastinate. Don't make excuses. Do it right now. That's how to get started. Stop talking and start doing.
Yeah, that's good. And I think that's pretty much like all the stuff we have today. If you guys actually, right now, we just actually put together a system called the client attraction system. So it's pretty much everything we talked about, just a lot deeper and a lot more. It's a course we put together called the client attraction system. We're selling it right now for $7. It's only going to be at that price for a limited time. It's not going to stay at that price. We're going to actually raise it because it's really cheap for what you're actually getting. But if you guys want to check out the client attraction system, how to get followers, how to get organic leads from your social media account, go in the description below or the link below and you can check it out. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today. Hope you guys got some value from it. Feel free to like this, share this with any of your friends that are doing organic social media or you think they should start doing organic social media. But yeah, that's pretty much it today, guys. See you later.
All right. Take care, guys.